I was thinking about this earlier today and I thought I'd share. One thing I want people to understand is this. Although I am a life coach for codependency recoveries, that doesn't exclude me from life. It doesn't exclude me from difficult people or gossip and slander and manipulation. I still experience all of that stuff. I'm not excluded from people projecting whatever, Lord knows what, onto me. I am not excluded from the toxicity in the family dynamics and the workplace politics. I still have to deal with insecure, controlling, passive aggressive, emotionally immature people who are committed to misunderstanding me. I still go through all that. And it certainly didn't exclude me from people who haven't addressed their own wounds. I still encounter all of it. All of it. The only difference now is that I know how to navigate it. I didn't know how to navigate it back then. Because back then, a lot of the situations I go through now would have consumed me. I would have replayed all of the conversations through my mind over and over and over again. I would have replayed it. I would have been worried about what people think of me, or I would be trying to explain myself to people so they wouldn't be upset and trying to earn my understanding for them to understand my perspective. I would still be running around here trying to fix everything that's not mine to fix and spending entirely too much time managing other people's emotions while not just saying, you know what, this is just too much for me. I can't, That's what codependency used to look like in my life. I wasn't a weak person, or I wasn't this broken mentally person. I was just taught and conditioned that I had to learn to keep other people comfortable and make them more important than myself. And their comfort was more important than my comfort. And that lesson cost me a lot. It cost me peace. It cost me happiness and confidence. It cost me opportunities, time. It cost me parts of myself, I look back over that. And what changed, my life wasn't pretending that these situations stopped happening. What changed was me learning how to respond differently when they did. And when I say they still happen, I think they happen even more now than they did before. Maybe I just didn't notice it then. I had to learn boundaries and emotional regulation, self-awareness. That's something that a lot of people don't like because it comes with accountability. Self-awareness and accountability go hand in hand. And I had to learn that everybody does not earn an explanation. I don't need to voice anything to a lot of people a lot of times. I had to learn that. Criticism. It's not always constructive. So it doesn't earn my attention. It doesn't deserve my attention. I had to learn that not every misunderstanding requires correction or an apology. I also had to learn that some people are committed to seeing me a certain way. No matter what I do, they're going to always see me like that. And that's not my burden to carry. I also want you to understand this. I didn't just wake up one day and know stuff. I didn't just wake up one day and my whole life changed and I was better and I was like codependent no more. I lived it. I struggled through it. I learned from it. I made a lot of mistakes. I got a lot of stuff wrong. I made a hell of a lot of mistakes. I think about all that I gave. I gave so much. And I was a worrier. I worried a lot. I carried a lot, and I cared too much about what people thought about me. And all of that was heavy. But I'm glad that I educated myself. I'm glad that I studied and invested in my own growth. I pursued my certifications. I have a degree, but I also pursue certifications for this specifically, and learned the frameworks and the patterns. And I learned the psychology behind the behaviors. I learned how the family system works, because that was one of the key components for my own codependency. So that was important for me to learn that. And I also learned how attachment impacts our choices. That helps me to even be a better mother. How the wounds are showing up in adulthood. There's so much that I learned. How it shapes relationships in the workplace, your friendships, your romantic ships, your business ships, whatever. I learned all of that stuff, and I combined all of that with my lived experience. And that's what makes me an effective coach. Not because I avoided the hardship, okay? I didn't avoid it. I sat with it. I walked through many of the same things that you're walking through, the things that my clients are walking through. I've been there. I've done that. I've experienced it. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to struggle with the boundaries. I do. You may not believe it, but hey, I do. I know what it's like to carry the mother wound. I have a deep mother wound. I don't talk about it a lot, but I think I'm going to start because I believe it'll help many of you. I know what it's like to overgive and to feel responsible for everybody else. It doesn't feel good. Shrinking, that doesn't feel good. Shrinking yourself to keep other people comfortable. All of that I learned from experience. I learned it. And I also know what it's like to stop doing it. That's why I do this work. Not because I have a perfect life and everything is going well. I have not mastered every lesson. Let me get that across to you. But I've experienced enough of life to know that growth is possible. You have to know this. The goal isn't to become immune to difficult people. The goal is to become immune to the gossip and the manipulation and the people pleasing and being the rescuer. It's to be so grounded in yourself that those things no longer control your life. That is the difference. So yeah, I still encounter difficult people. I just don't surrender my peace to them anymore. I still get projection. I see it every day when I walk into that building. It just doesn't bother me. I don't carry it home with me anymore. I don't deal with the gossip. I shut it down. I have built my own identity. I don't worry about what people say. I don't worry about what they think. That's for them to worry about, not for me. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not trying to be a performer. I'm not trying to pretend. I'm not trying to conform. I'm just walking in my freedom of authenticity. The freedom to be yourself without constantly managing everybody else's opinion about you. That's what I want for you too. Always remember, it's not rejection, it's alignment. I'm Coach Valerie, and I'll talk to you later.